He's like, my nickname's going to be Fatty.
They called me that in high school. Fatty Walsh.
Alrighty, back at it again.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Florida episode.
Florida
Spooky State Series.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like fighting the urge to just jump right into the stories because I read.
I was like, let's do it.
Well, not only are they great stories, everybody, they're great stories this week, but I had my first mean comment on the American Social Fabric episodes.
Oh yeah, that podcast.
Yeah. Or somebody complained that I didn't get into the meat of it too quick or quickly enough. Mm-hmm. So now in the back of my head, I'm like, I got to get into this quickly, but I like the banter. I like the intro banter. It's fun.
Oh, is that what the comment was? Like,
yeah.
Stop wasting our time. Can you get on with it already?
He said, keep in mind, this is like a 10-minute episode. See, I'm already off rails here. The 10-minute thing talking about like a Federalist paper. And this guy goes like, I'm 4 minutes in and you haven't even started talking about it. But the thing is like the format of that is always like some intro, some historical context.
He needs the content
and
now.
then into it. I'm like, well, then go read it, dude. If you just want the line by line, go read it. I'm going to give some context and then we'll talk about it. But anyway.
Yeah, so let us know if you hate our awkwardly long intros.
Don't tell us anything negative. I can't handle it.
He can't handle criticism.
I can't take it. All right. Well, with 2 minutes of banter.
I know. I have a long one.
You do? Oh, okay.
What order do you want to go in?
You just have one long one?
I have two.
Oh, you have two long ones. Okay.
No, one long one, but.
Okay. I have two meaty ones as well. Let's just jump into it. My laptop's open, so I'll just go first. Okay.
Go.
And my mom's going to be excited. Let me just say that now. All right. So, setting the stage of my stories. Okay. So, like I said, Florida. My whole life, my mom's talked about Saint Augustine. I guess they went there when she was a kid.
I've heard this, yes.
Yes. And my mom wants to go there for some sort of family reunion. Maybe we'll go there one day.
Yeah.
And now this definitely makes me actually want to go there just from the historical perspective. It's very interesting.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So both of my places are in St. Augustine.
Okay.
Just by chance, happenstance. Happy little accidents.
I will say that he stole my book this episode.
No, I didn't.
Normally, so we spent a little bit of backstory. We always go to like a coffee shop and work on this beforehand. And I have that book that I reference every single time that makes it super easy for me to do my research.
Yes.
And so I started doing my research and I was like, oh, just FYI, like my first one's going to be St. Augustine. And he was like, shoot, I wanted to do that one. It's like for my mom or whatever. And I was like, okay. And so I hand over the book. And so this week, Joe gets the easy job.
I'm the book guy. Even though most of my stuff doesn't even come from this book.
Okay. Then why couldn't I use the book?
All right. So I'm going to do we'll give some context on St. Augustine as a little city first. So I didn't know this, but it was actually the oldest continually occupied settlement in like North America from a European perspective. Like obviously there was Native Americans here before, but
they don't count.
They don't count
Just kidding.
on this podcast. But, so from like a European perspective, this is the first or the oldest that's been occupied since basically it was founded.
Okay. That's cool.
Yes. So the French would first settle the area in like 1564, but they were quickly pushed out by the Spanish, who were also planning a expedition literally the next year.
Oh.
Which I think in the context of like colonial era, like to get pushed out the next year, that's
like releasing the same movie the next day.
Yeah. That's like, what was it? Like no strings attached and friends with benefits in one year. But let's see. So yes. And so Don Pedro Menendez established St. Augustine, and it would initially serve as a colony with like a military outpost, and it was also a staging post for missionaries, Catholic missionaries who were going out to try and obviously convert Native Americans.
Yeah.
Let's see. And it's kind of cool so it's on Florida, the coast of Florida, so you can kind of think of it as like a Pirates of the Caribbean vibe.
Okay.
It was like a Spanish settlement. They had pirate fights there. The place was burned down. Captain Barbosa, that's where he's born. Everyone knows that. So it was kind of like a rough and tough outpost. It was like I said, Spanish started it. I think the British took it over for a little bit after like the 7 Years' War or something, and then went back to the Spanish, and then eventually to the U.S. in 1821 when Florida became a state.
Okay. Got it.
And then, of course, the U.S. government, being wonderful, commenced the wars with the Native Americans at that point.
No.
So it saw a lot of was a kind of a center because the fort, it had a fort. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
But it was a military outpost for those wars.
Got it.
And during the Civil War, it stayed with the Union, even though Florida went to the Confederacy. So it had also Civil War kind of history baked in with it.
A lot of wars.
Yep. A lot of wars.
I'm taken away from the story so far, pirates.
Yes. a lot of
and
battles.
Wars. Got it.
A lot of darkness. And staying on the topic of wars, we're going to talk about a fort as the first place.
A fort.
Yes. Castillo de San Marcos.
Okay.
Yep. And it's kind of like, we'll put a picture up here, but it's like what you think of when you think of like a colonial era, like
oh my God,
big
so colonial.
stone fort, cannons on the walls.
Yeah.
Looks like a star.
Again, I'm envisioning Pirates of the Caribbean. So
yes, that's
I have
accurate.
it to the T. What
Captain Jack Sparrow was the first captain of the whole fort. So it's the oldest front fort in the U.S. from 1672 is when it was built by the Spanish. And kind of the dark history around it is that it had a lot of Native American captives. So like that's going to show up in the ghost stories. So let's see. So ghosts.
Let's hear it.
Yes. So start with a lot of shadow figures. There's a lot of shadow figures at the fort here. In particular, I was reading an account from Ghost City Tours website. We'll link it in the description. In the subscription. Please subscribe.
No.
But I guess their CEO was there, and they were doing a bit of an investigation.
Okay.
And they were on top of the walls of the fort, looking down, doing some pictures of like a drawbridge area.
Okay.
And they saw somebody walking across the drawbridge, and they're like, "Oh, we don't want to take pictures of this person because it was like nighttime. It was like a shadowy
Were
person."
they in just like a t-shirt and jeans?
Well, they said
or?
shadowy. They just couldn't see him super well. But they said like a shadow person. They you glance and then you pause what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then they go to look back to see if the person has crossed yet, but like, there's nobody there. So they were not,
oh my God, what a missed.
Yeah.
Wait, okay.
So they didn't take pictures because
they're there on a paranormal investigation.
yes.
And they see a dark, shadowy figure when
They said it was such like a normal interaction. Like it just looks like somebody's like walking. So they're like, "Oh, let's let this person finish what they're doing."
What a missed opportunity. They're like, "That's a ghost. We should probably not."
Yeah, let's hold off on pictures. Dude, inconvenience this ghost. But then they're like,
wow.
"Oh shoot, we just had like our best paranormal experience ever."
And we opted not to record it
Yes.
in any fashion.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
These guys are legit.
It's legit, but cool account.
I like that one.
Yep.
Would have been cooler with a photo.
Would have been a lot better with a photo. They'd be famous with a photo, actually, because it'd be an actual ghost. But, and then I saw on Reddit, this person I was just saw like a thread of people talking about their experiences there. One person noted that they had a ghost horse brush up against them.
Oh my God, I love the ghost animals.
Yeah.
So we talked about ghost dogs last time. Ghost horse?
I don't know. I've never
That's
heard of a
next
ghost
level.
horse. I don't know how they knew it was a horse unless like it neighed. But
I mean,
just
I
like
feel
that.
like you would know if it was a horse next to you.
If it's brushing up against you, you're going to know it's a horse.
You're like, that's really coarse hair. Is that
Yeah.
Kona or is that a horse?
What's the difference? But apparently they knew it was a ghost horse.
Mm.
And then there's sounds of like, I'm going to call them 40 sounds. It's, like people marching, whispers.
40?
40, like the word fort. And
Oh.
E, so like of a fort.
It's like there was individually 40 different sounds.
40 different sounds have been cataloged at this location.
Now we're going to listen to all 40.
Please send in while we. Anyway, so like footsteps, whispers, cries.
1,
marching,
2, 3, 4.
marching sounds. And then there's always cold spots. Like people always say cold spots, but like for me,
Was
it's
it
like,
over a bridge like last time?
I swear to God. But like on the one hand, it's like, okay, Florida like isn't known for their cold spots, but if you're in a big stone fort, like you would expect
a little
cold
chilly.
spots. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And then so moving into some more crazy stories. I'll keep like a warning here. Like this is kind of a screwed up story. Deals with Native Americans and some serious mistreatment and some things that I guess were normal practice back in the 1800s that now are kind of shocking.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
so the story of the person we're talking about, his name is, I mispronounce it, but Osceola. He was a Native American like leader from a Seminole tribe. Presumably he was some sort of like something a role that people associate with like mysticism or like a Native American shaman,
Okay.
medicine man kind of a thing.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the right term is, but that kind of a thing. So in 1837, he was leading about 200 men. The U.S. government tricked them in a fake truce and then took them captive.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they tricked him and then they took him back to the fort.
Rude.
Yeah. He gets back to the fort. He's already kind of sick. So he becomes friends with a doctor who's there.
Mm-hmm.
And then
friends or
apparently like the doctor and his family like really liked this guy.
Oh,
So
okay. I thought this was leading to a betrayal, but
well, it is. But of course, I mean, we're doing it. So they become friends, and then at some point, for some reason, I think it maybe the popularity or whatever. I don't remember why, but they move this guy from the fort to South Carolina, where he continues to be like a tourist attraction. But then he passes in South Carolina.
What? That's like really far, no?
Yeah, it's a long ways. But he passes away there. The doctor's there, and then
the same doctor came with him to South Carolina.
Yeah, cuts it, and then goes in like to the autopsy room and cuts this guy's head off, and then smuggles the head back, and then steals some of the stuff he was supposed to be buried with.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So he like decapitates this head, the head, and then steals this burial stuff, and then goes back to Saint Augustine.
Oh my God, that is not what I thought.
Dr. Whedon.
Screw you, Whedon.
So he kind of like desecrates his friend.
Jeez. Okay.
And then so he
friend.
And I guess this is I guess it was common, or at least like somewhat accepted in this part of the U.S. during that time, where they would put Native American body parts in jars and display them. So
sick.
He brings the head back to St. Augustine
in a jar,
in jar, and then puts it on display in his drugstore in St. Augustine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
ew.
Yeah, so that's a wild story, disgusting. Bringing it back to ghosts. So I guess now people see a headless ghost, like a apparition, in the fort.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it's
why
just like,
would you not?
It's a wild story. It's kind of like
wait, okay, hold on. When they say headless, they just see the head, or they see like a headless person, or like I think nearly headless Nick situation.
I think like a shadow figure without a head.
Okay.
How
because his head's in the jar. It
says in the jar.
That's awful.
That's terrible. People say, although like because he didn't die at the fort and he wasn't there that long. People are also saying, like, speculate that it just could be a different person who was killed there.
A different beheaded.
Let's just I don't think they treated Native Americans well at this point, so it could have been something else. But that's the story.
Wow, what a
terrible story,
lively story.
So
thanks for starting off with the winner.
Welcome to our show.
Yeah, really. And we've lost everyone.
So let's go to a much more. I'm going to call it fun. It's not fun, but it's like at least not as like terrible. Because I think it's fun because I don't think it's true.
Skeptic much?
I'm a skeptic of this story because I don't know how we know these details.
Okay, fine.
Anyway, so moving to it. It deals with an adulterous love story, a torrid affair.
Wait, is this in the same
fort?
Okay.
Yep. Same fort. And a Colonel Garcia Marti got sent to the fort to be the head of the fort. He's super like type A. He's domineering and distant from his wife, who's much younger than him, named Dolores.
Okay.
And then Dolores, being bored in a new place, what does she do? She starts dating his assistant.
Oh.
His name was the Captain Abella. And he and her are together. One day, the colonel smells her perfume because she was known for loving perfume on him. And then suddenly she falls ill and has to go stay with, I believe, family in Mexico to recover. And then he gets sent on an assignment to Cuba. And a special assignment that nobody can know about because it's secret.
Okay.
And then guess what happens?
What?
They're never seen again. Until the U.S. takes over the fort later. And there was a lieutenant who was looking at them through the dungeon. He was doing whatever he does. He noticed like, hey, this looks like a false wall because that stuff isn't lining up. And so he breaks down the wall and there's two skeletons chained up behind a false wall.
Okay.
And people associate them with these people because when supposedly he broke down the wall, you could smell perfume. Oh. And then people still will in that area smell perfume.
Wait, so is that the girl and the assistant then who were there?
Yes, it's the wife and it's the guy she was, the assistant, the captain that she was
cute
having a affair with. But now they're together forever. A dungeon.
And a really dungeon that smells good, at least.
Yeah, at least keeping it fresh. And those were my lovely stories.
Oh my God. Thank you, I guess, for sharing those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're just going to move on from that one. One of mine is also really dark, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay, well, all of mine are very dark, so.
Okay, so Florida, what's up with your creepy darkness? Are there any fun? I actually have, I guess kind of fun. I don't know. It's not. Okay. Anyways,
Not
the
that.
Biltmore.
The Biltmore.
The Biltmore
In Phoenix?
Hotel. Yeah, in Phoenix, Arizona. Just kidding.
I've been there.
In Miami.
Okay.
It was built in 1926. It's part of like the same Biltmore hotels that you think of today. It was originally built for Hollywood stars, mobsters, and politicians. So when it was built, actually, fun fact, it was the largest or tallest building in Florida at 315 feet in 1926.
That's actually pretty tall.
Right? Yeah.
It's taller than anything in Tucson, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's really pretty, like really nice architecture. Anyways, so famous visitors, again, Hollywood stars, etc. Famous visitors, another fun fact, include Judy Garland, Bing Crosby, and FDR.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. FDR actually created a temporary White House office, like setup, like Oval Office setup, when he vacationed there in Miami.
Presidents love Florida.
Yeah.
Because like FDR apparently.
It's because of their rich history.
Truman was always in Florida.
Wow.
Fishing.
You probably went here then.
Our current president lives in Florida.
Okay. Another win for Florida, I guess. Okay. So this is another common theme in a lot of our stories, but guess what happened shortly after it opened?
Let's see. Fire?
No, but good guess.
Murder.
Hurricane.
Oh, hurricane. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's Florida. So the actually building itself was fine, but it was turned into like a shelter to provide, refuge to all of the folks who were impacted by this hurricane, with over like 2,000 survivors at the time. So that was kind of interesting.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I guess after that, like a lot of the surrounding areas was destroyed. And so the original owner of the hotel eventually went bankrupt after 3 years.
Okay.
So, but then after, like the second guy that he sold it to, I apparently didn't write his name down, but the second guy that owned it, it became a successful like hotel after that.
Okay.
More fun facts is like on Sundays, I guess, over 3,000 people would come to this hotel to watch synchronized swimmers perform.
3,000 people?
As well as alligator wrestling.
Okay, well now I understand that. I think people are coming for the second part there.
How Florida of you to have alligator wrestling at this hotel. But that was the thing.
A good time.
Yeah, more of the history. In 1942, in World War II, they converted it to a hospital. Mm-hmm. So it was a 1,200 bed hospital. And then it was like more formally transferred to the Army, like as a permanent ownership in 1946.
Okay.
And then after the war, it remained like the VA hospital just in the area until the late 60s, 1968, where eventually it was vacated.
Okay.
And so they took this like beautiful hotel that had all these famous people, these alligator wrestling and all these synchronized swimmers. And they turned it into like a nasty VA hospital. Apparently they like concreted all of like the windows shut and replaced like the marble floors with like government issued linoleum and made it.
Took all the character out.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a bummer.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, it was eventually just like completely vacated. So it was empty for a very long time in the 70s.
Okay.
So it eventually opened in 1987 again as a luxury hotel. And I think it's still probably open today.
Okay.
Okay. So when it comes to now you kind of have a history of the hotel. When it comes to the ghosts at the hotel, when I was mentioning earlier about like mobsters coming to stay there, most notably was Thomas Fatty Walsh.
Old Fatty Walsh.
Yeah, that's what he went by. He's like, my nickname's going to be Fatty.
They called me that in high school. Fatty Walsh.
But he was like classic mobster.
Okay.
So boisterous, annoying, abrasive. I don't like recognize any of these people, but there was a lot of like importance in his association with the Diamond Brothers gang.
Huh.
Or if you know Arnold Rothstein.
I'm not sure of those.
No, I have heard of, he liked to shoot dice with the mob kingpin Charles Lucky Luciano. I do know that person.
I know that name.
So anyways, it kind of sets a scene of who this guy was. Yeah.
Okay.
So unfortunately though, Fatty was murdered in the hotel the like presidential suite over a gambling dispute on March 4th of 1929.
Well, at least that's a useful and like meaningful way to give your life.
Yeah. Apparently it was like, I was reading down this rabbit hole about like who done it kind of thing. And apparently it like kind of took them a while to find out who actually killed him, which is odd. Anyways, there was like a lot of articles about like who killed Fatty. Sorry, I laugh every time. But anyways, in this presidential suite, apparently there's a fireplace. And to this day, you can see the bullet hole in the fireplace, which is cool.
That's pretty cool.
So people like to visit and investigate it. Unfortunately, the only investigators that I found who have stayed in this suite were Sam and Colby.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We should actually watch that. That just sounds interesting.
I don't want to become Sam and Colby people, but
we will. It's destined to happen.
Anyways, so obviously the ghost of Fatty is haunting the Biltmore and the presidential suite.
As expected.
As expected. Many guests have reported seeing like a man dressed in kind of like that gangster attire. The presidential suite is also on the 13th floor. So the whole 13th floor is said to be haunted. Some claim to hear disembodied voices, the sound of laughter, kind of reminiscing of the parties that Fatty would have when he was there.
Okay. Good time. Rowdy time.
Yeah, there was a notable story about a particular encounter with Fatty. This woman had gotten off an elevator and found the elevator kept stopping on the 13th floor.
Ooh.
The elevator, she was like, "This is not my floor. Can I please, move on?" And so the elevator doors would not shut, and she wasn't able to get to her destination. It was just like locked in the 13th floor.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that would be really scary, actually.
I'm surprised they even have
I guess I'll take
floor.
this. That's true. Yeah. Actually, a lot of hotels don't.
Yeah.
Which is weird, also weird because it's like I'm still on the 13th. Like I can count.
Because you're not numbering it right. Doesn't mean it's not the 13th floor.
But anyways, that'd be kind of scary. But other folks have claimed that like lights will flicker on and off on that 13th floor.
Okay.
In addition to Fatty being there, though, that's like the most prominent, I would say, figure that's haunting this hotel. But in addition, obviously, it served as a hospital during World War II, so there's a lot of ghosts associated with that. Men in World War II uniforms are sighted in various parts of the hotel, particularly in the areas that were like dedicated to the hospital wards. They hear sounds of marching boots and distant gunfire. So I'm imagining like war vibes just being like left over there.
Energy.
Energy. Okay, yeah, exactly. And then again, a frequent visitor of ours. There is another tale of the woman in white.
She's everywhere.
She is. She gets around.
Florida.
She really gets around. It's kind of interesting, actually. That like, I don't know if like one person was like, "Hey, let's make up this ghost in white," and then she's just like everywhere. Or what would be even crazier is if people are actually seeing ladies in white like all over the place.
Makes
That'd be creepy.
What are the ladies in white? Because if they're that common and they're everywhere, where there's like
it's something
trauma,
related. I think
spiritual stuff.
We should have like a whole episode like digging into like, but I feel like it's related.
We should do a history of the lady in white.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
But she is seen there. She's seen wandering the halls and the grounds. Apparently, this particular lady in white is related to a young bride who took her own life after being left at the altar at the hotel.
Okay.
So I think that she like jumped off a balcony.
Oh. Killed
herself at the hotel.
Sad.
Yeah. But her mournful presence is often seen, accompanied by a cold breeze.
Right? Okay.
And the scent of gardenias.
Oh.
Which actually smell really good.
I love the smell of gardenias.
I love good smelling ghosts.
Yeah.
When I become a ghost, I want to be smelling good.
You can wear your Burberry perfume. I'll know you're there.
Yeah, it's my signature scent. So, like I said, it was abandoned then in the 70s before, what was it? 1968 to 1987.
Okay.
I think it was abandoned. So during that time, people would go in and like check it out, as people do. They would sneak in. What's really interesting is people would report hearing doors open and close and also windows open and close.
Oh, that's weird.
But the windows were cemented shut as a part of the VA overhaul.
So
I don't understand. Ghost windows opening and closing, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Like maybe it's just like the sound of what happening, you know, what I mean? Like or happened during whatever event locked in that like energy.
Yeah.
Ghost.
Anyways, maybe Fatty is like, why can't I open these goddamn windows? Yeah, so that's the story. A lot of fun things happen there. I do unfortunately want to watch the video of Sam and Colby. Just so maybe we'll do it tonight with dinner. Yeah. But that one was more fun and less traumatizing than yours. So let's see what you have next.
Well, on that note, let's dig back into the traumatic experiences. Okay, so as promised, we now go to the Saint Augustine Lighthouse.
Oh, yeah. Okay. This is the one that you really wanted. Have you been or just your mom?
Just my mom.
Okay.
I think my mom went with her family when she was young.
Once or like a frequent place to vacation?
I think it was just once, but I don't know. We'll have to ask her.
Oh, really? It impact.
It was
Maybe she saw a ghost?
You could have. She has seen a lot of ghosts.
Yeah. If you're watching, could you please let us know in the comments below?
Yeah, leave a comment and drive engagement. Like, comment, subscribe. But so St. Augustine Lighthouse, it was built starting in 1871 to replace a Spanish tower that was built in the 1500s. So there was like a prior tower there.
Was the tower also a lighthouse or no?
Yeah, it was a lighthouse, but it was more like primitive technology, like earlier. You know, it didn't work very well. There's a lot of sinking ships.
I don't
and stuff.
When you said primitive technology,
not the YouTube channel.
That's what I thought of. So I was like, that's a very old tower. This guy with like sand and like mud, like building.
The camera set up on the side.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. No one knows what I'm talking about, but continue.
So yeah, there's a tower that was originally built there with wood in the 1500s.
Okay.
And then slowly over time, they added to it. You know, it changed. The St. Augustine changed hands a couple times, and so they would build it up and make it taller, and then add some brick, and so it ended up. You know, I'll put up a picture, but it had some brick outside or a stone outside, I should say, not brick. But they did need to. In 1871, the U.S. government was like, "Look, stuff's sinking all the time. Like, we need new technology. There's new stuff. We need permanent like lighthouse people." And so they started building this, and they gave the contract to a Hezekiah Pete or Petty. I don't know what it is.
Oh, I like the name.
Hezekiah.
Yeah,
that's a good name.
Have you heard of that before?
Yeah, I think it's biblical.
Oh,
I think it's like I don't know if it's Jewish, but I think it's like from the Old Testament. I think.
Cool.
But he moved there with his wife and his 4 kids. There was 3 girls and a boy, and he was moving slow. Like a couple years later, he's like a third of the way through. But it was
really slow.
Yeah, he's moving slow.
A couple years later, he's a third of the way
through
through this
that contract. He's like,
okay,
he's got a per diem.
Yeah.
he's like, oh, that's really difficult. But
he's like, they're paying me by the hour, not by the job. So
nice.
Thank you.
So there's the work site, the construction site. The Hezekiah is overseeing it. They have workmen. There's a rail that runs from the work site to the docks where they unload the building materials from the ships.
Okay.
Bring them back up. All the kids like to play on the rail car because it's fun, and I would have as a child as well. One time, the 3 daughters and then an African American girl that they were friends with were riding in the cart together. So the mechanism that slowed the cart down at the docks was not in, and so they went off the docks into the water under the.
Hold on. There was a rail.
Yes.
Fully built.
Yes.
There were cars on this rail.
I think it was like a I imagine it like a cart or like a bucket. It was basically something to move building supplies from the docks to.
But it was still on the rail.
Yes.
With no stop.
Well, I think there's
we'll just put
some sort of mechanism that's usually supposed to be in, but for some reason, on this day, these girls were like they would always do. They would like grind it down to the docks for fun.
Oh, on that particular day, it wasn't there.
Yes.
Oh, I thought they were like, it's close enough to being done. Let's just throw some cars on there. Okay. Yeah.
So they unfortunately go into the water,
Oy.
Get trapped, and then someone rescues.
Is it like cliff situation?
I think it's just
Or
my
like beach?
I don't know.
Okay.
But
Oy.
I think it's just they get trapped under the cart.
Oof. Oh God. Okay.
And so all but the youngest daughter pass in this tragic accident. Obviously, the whole town like shuts down for this event. There's the funeral. The family packs up and goes home because obviously they're not going to finish this building project in the site where they lost two of their daughters. And they go home, and then it gets built later. But now, obviously, people associate certain paranormal experiences with these girls.
So did it get finished eventually?
It did. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And people associate very playful, very fun ghosts with these girls. Mm-hmm. And like they'll see like footprints and they'll hear like girls giggling in the towers and stuff.
The footprints like in the sand or something?
I think it's like they'll see like on the floor. They'll see like a footprint and they'll hear like giggling, and then they'll go like investigate the giggling, and then nobody will be there, and they'll hear it somewhere else.
Oh my God.
And then they usually like to be around like nurturing or like women, like so like nurses, teachers, moms. They'll stay around them. One particularly crazy story was this lady was doing a tour, and she was going along, and then another lady who's doing the tour was like, "Wow, your daughter is so well behaved. She didn't like create a fuss throughout this whole tour." And then the lady's like, "I don't have a daughter," and then there's no little girl. So
oh my God, I got chills at that one. Ooh. That's scary.
Yes, that's a pretty crazy one. But the girls aren't the only ones that people report being there. The first lighthouse keepers, Major William and his wife Kate Harns, are said to still inhabit the lightkeeper's house.
Okay.
So they took over, and William died there 13 years after he took over of tuberculosis.
Oof.
Yeah. And people will still hear his cough.
Ew.
So people who right after. So I guess his ghost showed up pretty quickly after, because people are like, "Oh, I remember how he would cough." They would still hear him coughing.
And they were able to identify like that's his cough.
Yeah, like I guess it is like a distinctive cough.
Oh my God. Yeah. Scary.
And then also the like people hear him like sit down into like what was his chair, or I guess wherever he would sit, and you'd like hear him like when people sit down, they go like, "Oh," yeah, like that kind of a sound. And then
when they would sit in it,
when he like they
or
would
just
see,
like the chair would just be like, "Ugh,"
all the time. That, and then, like they would see like sit down, like that'd be kind of annoying. Though, like trying to watch TV and it's like, "Ugh." But so I guess it's like we would hear him getting into his chair to relax after a long day watching the waters or whatever it is that they do.
Yeah, okay.
And then I guess one lady who's working there, I guess she was like she ran it, or she was like a tour guide or something like that. But she like tried to like address them, but she didn't remember to call him Major. She called him like Mr. Harns or whatever. And then the rocking chair started going like really hard. And so she like insulted him.
How dare she?
I know, the audacity.
That's scary though. I know. Oh my God, I'd be like, "Oh, sorry.
Please. Just...
my bad.
But then, and also they say Kate still inhabits the place, because they'll see like...
Who's Kate, sorry?
Oh, sorry, Kate's the wife.
Of
the Major.
The guy?
The
okay.
Mr. Major
Major
But I don't know why they associate her with these shadows and not him or anything, but they say that she's there because they'll see like a shadow, I don't like in the halls and the bedrooms. But like, I don't know why they would call it, like maybe they just want both of them to be there because it'd be fun.
Yeah, there's so many of these stories where it's like... it was very clearly like John Smith's footsteps. And you're like...
Yes. This person I read about. I think a lot of times though... Like
the cough one is legit.
I think a lot of times this comes from psychics. Like they'll go and they'll be like, "Oh, I hear a Jimmy or a Johnny or a, Bobby Brown." So I don't know. Okay. That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I got no idea why they associate her with those figures, especially with what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Because there's like a lot of other keepers that people say stuck around there.
Oh, okay. This must be like a good place, or does it capture people? Like, why are so many people hanging around?
I don't know, but I think I remember this. I think I remember watching ghost hunters investigate this place.
Oh, really?
It's like I'm like 99% sure that like I've watched an investigation of this place.
Oh, we
can watch it.
We have to watch that too. Yeah. Okay, add it to the list.
Add it to the list.
Our research
for
science.
Research.
Boop, 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 boop.
I'm gonna tell my boss tomorrow. I'm like, I'm working really hard out here just watching ghost hunters. But so other keepers have stuck around. Peter Rasmussen, I guess he's identified by his tobacco smells. I guess he like smoked like a cherry tobacco.
Okay.
And the people will smell that.
Did any of these people, these additional people, did they die? Like the tuberculosis guy died in it, or?
I didn't get that much detail.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe a lot of these people would work until they just lived there until
Okay.
they passed. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But he's the only one who's associated with a negative spirit. They smell the smell. They feel kind of this negative, oppressive spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he was tall because they see like a tall shadow figure from him.
Mm-hmm.
There's also somebody they don't know, they don't have identified, but like he wears a blue jacket and a mariner cap, and he'll stand on the top railing around the lighthouse and like look down. However, the thing that doesn't make sense for me is that the two names they give as like the possible options, they date to before the tower was built. So like, I don't know if they're trying to like link ghosts that were like people in charge of the old lighthouse tower to the new one. I don't know. But their names were William Russell and Joseph Andrew.
Interesting.
But I'm not sure. Like the dates I saw were like from like the 1850s or something.
Weird.
And like that's like 20 years before they built the thing. So
interesting. Okay.
yeah. And then lastly, just is the ghost of Joseph Andrew's wife, Maria, who I guess was the first U.S. Coast Guard woman and
That's
first
cool.
Hispanic woman to command a federal shore installation.
Oh my God, good for her.
So
you go, girl.
Yeah, I guess and again, I don't understand how like the timing lines up, but I guess he was painting the tower, doing maintenance and stuff, and fell and died.
Oh.
And then she took over the post.
She's like, ugh, I got this. Picks up the paintbrush.
Maybe she's the one going, ugh. But anyway, so she'll be seen on the top, also on the top railing looking down.
Okay.
But that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I want to watch the episodes on it.
Okay.
So many with a lighthouse.
I know.
It's like such a small surface area.
Yeah.
I mean, like a hospital, you're like, a lot's going on here. A hotel, like a lot's going on here. But like a singular lighthouse, it's
like, why is it holding so much energy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what gives off the light.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of orbs.
Just powering the ghost.
Yeah. They're like, it's been unplugged the whole time. What?
Just like uses ghost energy to.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. My last one. Sorry, guys. It's depressing.
Burr, burr.
Sorry.
We need a button that does noise.
Do we have one?
I don't think we do. Oh, we do.
Yes, we do. Okay. This one is called the Devil's Tree.
Ooh.
Have you heard of it?
No.
Okay. This is very interesting. It's in Port St. Lucie, something like that.
Okay.
It's an oak hammock park, state park.
Okay.
It's just like normal park, big tree.
It's a pretty tree.
Yeah.
Do you have a picture? I don't know. Maybe not.
Tree.
Tree. Here's a tree.
Yeah. If you don't know what a tree looks like,
you're familiar with the concept of a tree. This is.
And if you're listening only, let me describe you a tree in detail.
Extreme detail.
Anyways, it used to have an abandoned house next to it. So
Okay.
kind of picture a big tree, abandoned house.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a sheriff's deputy. Maybe you've heard of him. Gerald John Schaefer.
Mm-mm.
Okay. He was a serial killer.
Oh, well, that's fun.
There's no way around it. He was a serial killer. He would pick up hitchhikers.
Okay.
Like as a sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
And then like capture them and take them back to this old abandoned house.
Jeez.
And do not nice things to them.
Okay.
Would chain them to the tree and torture them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He would do this like in groups. So you'd get like 2 hitchhikers at a time, or like 2 friends, or like capture 2 people. And then this guy's like the worst. He would chain them both to the tree and then say like, okay, which one of you wants to die first or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And
He's
then
a total sadist. Okay.
He's like off the rails. Like it gets worse. Anyways, sorry, this one's sorry. But anyways,
a true crime podcast.
yeah. He would make them decide which one should die first.
Okay.
And then whenever they decided, they would kill the other one first.
Okay.
And then like do not good stuff to their dead body and make the other one watch.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. It is unknown how many people he actually killed, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, he loses his job as a sheriff, and he has to move
so.
back home with mommy, who lives like a little farther north. And then, guy's obviously a psychopath. He tries to get another sheriff's job to do it all again.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it ain't broke.
Okay. Fortunately, I guess he is unfamiliar with this new area, though.
Okay.
So he captures 2 people again, and they get out. Thankfully, they escape. Thank God. And then again, he's crazy. He goes into the sheriff's department and is like, oopsies, I did a bad thing.
Guys,
and turns himself in.
Oh, after all that.
Because I think because he thought the other people were obviously going to tell on him anyways, the ones that got away. And so, yeah, but he didn't even try to run or anything. He was like, oops.
I'm a serial killer,
I think
actually.
he literally was like, said it like that. Like maybe not those exact words, but he was like, I did something bad. Oh, I think he said something to the fact like, I did something bad. You're going to be mad at me.
Yeah.
What? A fucking loser. And he's like, sorry, we'll bleep that.
I think we have a bleep.
So the police searched his house and found trophies of what he had done. People's teeth that he would keep after he killed them.
Oh my God.
And then this guy obviously is found like super guilty. And while he's on death row, he begins pen paling Ted Bundy.
Like birds of a feather.
He's like, he was literally like bragging, like, I bet I killed more people than you. Literally.
What years was this?
Oh my God, I didn't write down any years. I'll search it in a second. But yeah, this guy's like that kind of psycho. Anyways, is he psycho or did the tree make him do it?
Oh.
Yeah. So people say that the tree actually made him do it, that the sap of this tree is black and people like it's like a demon tree. And people would come and perform rituals and this like black sap would be collected and like drive people insane. So this tree, because people were like doing rituals and would like try to cut it down for the sap and like et cetera, like it was being vandalized. People were obsessed with it. And so they were like, we got to cut down this tree. Like this tree is bad juju. You know what I mean? We're going to get rid of it. They can't cut it down.
Why?
They try to cut it down, I think, with 2 different chainsaws and they both break.
Oh.
And so these guys who are like tasked with cutting it down, they're like, okay, I guess I'll go and get another chainsaw. So they like put the old parts in the back to try to go get a replacement in their truck or whatever. And while they're driving to go and like pick up another chainsaw or get what they need to get, they die in a head-on collision.
Oh.
It's said because they took part of like the tree with them and the tree cursed them.
Oh.
And they died. Anyways, they were unable to cut down this tree, so it's still there.
Terrifying.
Right? Like, what is wrong with this tree?
In my head, this looks like the tree from Sleepy Hollow. Is it Sleepy Hollow?
I mean, that's a Sleepy Hollow is a movie.
Where they have like, it's like the trees, like the portal.
No.
With Johnny Depp.
Oh, is that Sleepy Hollow?
The Sleepy Hollow?
Maybe. Anyways, I know which one you're talking about.
Okay.
Oh, where it like sucks the people in.
Yes. Okay.
I think it looks like that, actually. Again, here's a picture of a tree. Here's a Sleepy Hollow tree. It's like in the mood. But anyways, you can go and visit this tree today. They put fencing around it to stop people
do stuff with
from messing with it, because like every time someone would mess with it, bad shit happens. Ugh. Okay. So they're saying from this tree, in addition to all that, they hear demonic growls and whispering voices around the tree, even when no one else is around. Cold spots and uneasy feelings, like an overwhelming sense of dread or nausea or like an unexplained chill. They will see like shadowy figures lurking under and around the trees. Unfortunately, some of these have been speculated to be the victims of the Schaefer guy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then also just like general feeling of uneasiness, like people feel dizzy, they'll feel scratches, even like pushed by like unseen forces. Oh. So this tree's got like all sorts of not good around it. Yeah.
Weird coincidences and terrible history.
Yeah. But like both.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like the fact that they try to cut it down and then they can't.
Yeah.
The chainsaws wouldn't work. And then the guys died.
Yeah.
Awful. So I don't know. Is it the tree or was that guy probably just crazy? But also the tree.
Also the tree's not good. Maybe he poisoned the tree.
He started it.
Yeah, it's like a reverse. It's actually the opposite as people think.
Oh, that could be the case too.
Yeah, like what he did there created so much bad energy.
Right.
So much negativity.
Yeah.
It poisoned the tree.
Ugh. Anyways, that was a weird one to end on, but it was too
that
weird. It was too weird for me not to include it. I'm sorry.
And what on that super positive and fun episode.
Yeah, don't you want to hear more of this? If you do, tune in 2 weeks from now when we'll be telling you all more.
More
uplifting,
joyous.
bright
Ah,
stories.
There we go. Here's the buttons memorized.
I really don't. All of those were actually on accident.
Oh,
Anyways, thank you guys.
yes. And please subscribe. I want to remember to say that so we can.
Yeah, please.
If you're still here.
People are like actually kind of starting to watch these. And so if you like it and you want to subscribe, that would be great.
It'd be awesome. We have fun doing this. So
yeah.
Happy to see get your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah. Anyways.
Until
next time, stay spooky.
Stay spooky.